I don't know your favorite trends, but I definitely know mine. I'm just really inspired by both boho and modern, and as I mentioned earlier, oftentimes you'll come across a bride that also can't decide. So, why not give them both? Today's demo is all about customizing a beautiful boho look to start, then slightly adjusting the look in the end for more of a modern feel. All right, so let's get started. As always, starting out a makeup application with amazing skincare products designed for your client's skin type is imperative. Making sure your bride's skin is cleansed, toned, well hydrated, and protected is key. And not only will these important steps keep skin looking fresh and glowing, but makeup will just lay seamlessly on the skin and wear a lot better throughout the day. My bride's skin is thoroughly cleansed. I'm using Calming Flower Mist to tone, Hydra Radiance Moisturizer to both hydrate and add that radiant glow. And to protect as well as even her complexion, I'm applying Moisturizing Tint SPF 30 in her perfect shade medium. Lastly, I'm prepping her lips with a bit of Lip Revival to give her lips a little plump and condition as well as hydrate. I'm starting out with the top half of her eye application first. Then we'll move on to the face makeup and go back to the under eye space to clean everything up. Then we'll move on to the detail and touch-ups from there. This is a great sequence to follow for more dramatic or special occasion looks, being that we want the skin to look as new and fresh as possible and saving any cleanup of fallout for the very end. Think long wear everything when working on a bride, which means prepping the entire eye space is pretty key. I'm using shadow primer and the eye base brush to do this, making sure product reaches every inch of her eyes from lash line to brow bone. And to secure it even more, just adding a generous amount of oil-free camouflage concealer in the shade Natural with the full coverage camouflage brush right over that shadow primer. I find this extra step really helps even the lids a bit more while adding extra grab for shadows to attach to, further intensifying shadow payoff. As much as I would love to use every eyeshadow shade we offer, I've narrowed my shade selection down to single shadows while dipping into one quad for a specific color needed for this look. For her eye base, I'm applying the shade Frolic to her entire lid with the eye base brush. Try not to skip this step. Applying a base shade first will really help with more of a seamless blend of shadows placed on top. Best place for depth to be added for this look is the lash line, and it calls for more of a rich and diffused liner, so Precision Eye Pencil in dark brown is the perfect shade to use for this. With this pencil, I'm filling in between any lash gaps, and while shading the lower half of her lid, keeping it pretty tight along her lash line. I'm not really worried about creating a perfect line, knowing that my next step will be to smudge and soften. So let's do it. Flip the pencil around and softly blend out any harsh edges with the smudger on the other end. I'm loving how this liner just turned into a shadowed smoky line. Remember when I mentioned we'd be dipping into at least one quad? Well, Bon Voyage Shadow Quad it is. The shade Koi makes for an amazing transition shade and brightens up any eye look. So I'm going in with this shade and the dual fiber eye brush for a fresh pop of color, starting from her outer crease and working color in towards the head of her brow. She has a fair amount of lid space, so I'm bringing the shade a little higher onto the brow bone. Next step is to add a shadow that's in the same color family, but it's a bit deeper for more of a seamless blend, connecting it to the lash line. So I'm patting the shade Dolce on top of Koi with the eye base brush while packing color onto the liner as well. I find I have a little more control over the amount of color used when it's first applied with more of a dense, flat, paddle-shaped eye brush, then blended with a soft, fluffier eye brush. So we're now blending with the dual fiber eye brush, as you can see, and this really softens the depth a little more. You have a better view from this angle, placing and packing color on, then blending. We've created shape with warm matte shades. Now time for the fun part, the glow. When it comes to highlighting, of course, take eye shape into account. We're working with more of a prominent eye shape. So that means if metallics or shimmer shades are used, keep them close to inner half of eyes. My choice of highlight today in the inner 3/4 of her lid is the Cream Stay Shadow Stick in Toast for that metallic bronzed goodness. I know by opting for a Cream Stay Shadow Stick, her base highlight will stay all day, won't crease, and look beautiful in photos. You can apply this straight from the stick, but I've warmed it up on my palette first and I'm applying with the Petite Smudge Brush for more precision. Don't worry, I didn't forget about the brow bone. Let's go with another Cream Stay Shadow Stick in Beam for that champagne glow. And I'm warming it up on her skin with fingertips, then giving it a little blend with that handy dual fiber eye brush. Just a side note, I keep this brush on hand at all times to blend out any harsh edges. It's time to tackle that lash line again. I'm going in with the shade Mahogany and gently patting this on top of the liner. It's setting her liner for all day wear as well as adding a bit more depth. Again, pat color on with more of a detailing tool. Today I'm using the Detail Shader brush. Then blend with a clean brush or a brush that has maybe a lighter shade on it to control the amount of color added. So I'm reaching for the eye base brush that I used earlier to apply Dolce and fusing all color together with that. So there's a chance your bride will get a little emotional on the big day. Why risk the dreaded mascara run? It's horrible. To be on the safe side, I'm giving her lashes a generous coat of water-resistant mascara. Also an amazing mascara for someone who may have sensitive eyes. When it comes to applying mascara, us artists usually opt for a disposable mascara wand or a spoolie for sanitary reasons. That's great and all, but sometimes those wands just don't do the trick and can completely consume the entire eye space, causing excessive blinking and eye watering to occur. Use the dual fiber lash liner. It's shaped like a mini fan and has a fancy ergonomical bend to it, so you can reach every single lash hair with ease without irritating the eyes. A bride's makeup is pretty much incomplete without lashes. So I'm just going in with some natural cluster individuals for more lash volume. This also opens up her eye space for photos. Let the glue completely dry clear, unless you're using black, before further disguising the roots with liquid ink. This liquid liner is a dream to work with on brides because it's completely transfer resistant and will not budge no matter what. Alright, her lids are finished, but don't worry, we're not done with the eyes just yet. For now, let's move on to the rest of her face. The layering process is real when it comes to brides. I want her makeup looking fresh from the moment she says I do to dancing the entire night away through the after party and that last celebratory kiss, which means taking those precautionary steps to keep all makeup intact is pretty important. This is where priming comes in. I'm applying tinted primer SPF 30 in the shade medium with the dual foundation camouflage brush. This will help even her complexion, keep her face makeup in place, and help to reduce the appearance of fine lines and pores while providing sun protection. To avoid harsh contour lines and for photo purposes, underpainting is a great technique to use on brides. Instead of contouring last, apply a deeper cream or liquid-based foundation under the bride's perfectly matched foundation. It makes for more of a seamless blend and adds natural warmth to the skin. To do this, I'm using Luminous Liquid Foundation SPF 18 in the shade Mocha with the angled complexion brush and just really strategically placing a small amount onto cheekbones, hairline, and jawline. Also giving this a good buff and blend now with the soft round end of the contour highlighter brush. To even her complexion, I'm using the dual fiber cheek brush and stippling a small amount of luminous liquid foundation SPF 18 in her perfect shade Cafe over top of Mocha. Just make sure everything is fused together. Now blending a pretty small amount of Liquid Bright in Sunburst under these eyes with the dual fiber eye brush to color correct unwanted darkness and brighten up this area. To provide additional but natural coverage to specific areas of her face, I'm spot treating with Press Base. And I'm staying within her shade family, which is Honey, but going a little bit lighter in color to keep that brightness. This is a great way to add natural dimension without overly highlighting. The shade you're seeing is Honey Light with the contour highlighter brush. Back to the eyes. Adding a base shadow to the lower lash line is just as important as applying it to the top. So Shadow Shade Frolic is now being added here with the crease shader brush. Let's add a little more depth with Dolce using that same brush. Adding Cream Stay Shadow Stick and Toast really brings that lower lash line to life. And the tool I'm using is the Petite Smudge Brush. And finally, to complete her eyes, water-resistant mascara. On to brows. She has an amazing natural shape to her brows already, so she doesn't need much, just a little brow gel to keep hair in place and add some natural sheen. Along with some added definition, fill and shape with the Precise Micro Brow Liner in the shade Raven. Now for a little more depth on her cheeks and for that bronzed glow, I'm adding Cream Blush and Warmth. I don't know if you've ever used this, but if not, you have to try. It's the most natural bronzer you're ever going to get your hands on and also the easiest to use. So I'm buffing this into the skin and using the soft round end of the contour highlighter brush. Warmth can also be used to anchor any powder contour or powdered bronzers as well. Now adding a little flush to the apples of her cheeks with Cream Blush and Fig, perfect shade for this warm, peachy bronzed look. Placing color with the large end of the Dual Foundation Camouflage brush and softly blending it out with the Dual Fiber Cheek brush. To complete her first lip look, I'm keeping it pretty neutral for that boho vibe. Lining and filling her lips with Precision Lip Pencil in Acorn for that warm, neutral undertone. And topping it with Cream Glaze Crayon and Chiffon, then blending with the Precision Lip Brush to add that nude kind of tint of color and hydration with a little shine. It's important to leave any finish work and spot treat with the setting powder till the end. I'm setting smaller areas where there tends to be that unwanted oily shine with the detail shader brush and perfecting powder. And that is the completed boho inspired look. Soft, neutral, warm browns, even peach tones, a glow to her skin, and metallic eyes. But this boho bride can easily transition into a modern bride with a quick switch of the lip. So let's do it. Precision Lip Pencil in Pronto is one of the most beautiful and richly pigmented vibrant berries when it comes to lip liners. The wearability this formula provides is incredible, making it perfect for brides. So I'm lining and filling her lips, then topping with a bit of mint balm for protection and hydration. And there you have it, from boho to modern bride in seconds.